At the Battle of Vercelli, the Kymrian army got totally wiped out, leaving like 100,000 soldiers dead in the dirt. I mean, can you even imagine that many bodies? It makes you wonder, something people don't really ask these days. Who was in charge of cleanup? Back then, in the old days and even in the Middle Ages, what happened after a battle was usually a messy, awful scene. If there were any survivors, they were trying to get away or were injured. Then there were the people that would steal from the bodies, animals looking for food, and Mother Nature doing its thing. This video is about what happened told years a proper burial. Battlefields after the fighting stopped. How the dead were handled, how the trash was taken care of, and why battlefields often looked like something out of a nightmare for years afterward. Back in ancient times, taking care of the dead after a fight wasn't just something practical, it was a religious thing too. Cultures like the Greeks and Romans really believed in giving dead so. When Greek armies fought, they'd usually call a time-out to pick up their dead. For instance, after this battle back in 338 BC, called the Battle of Chaeronea, where Philip II of Macedon beat the Athenians and Thebans, both sides supposedly got to take care of their dead the way they wanted. In Greek stories, not burying someone was seen as a huge insult. Because of that, the Greeks that won usually let the losers grab their dead and bury them. It was just a basic act of decency and an acknowledgement of defeat. The Greeks would sometimes burn the bodies on these piles made on or near the battlefield. Then, they'd grab the ashes and bury them. Sometimes they'd just toss the bodies in big group graves near where the battle happened. After the super-famous Battle of Marathon in 490 BC, the Athenians buried their dead heroes in a pile of dirt right there on the battlefield. You can actually still see it today. The Persian corpses were left out in the open to begin with, but accounts differ. Maybe they got tossed into mass graves later on, who knows. Usually, the winning side took care of their own dead, because it was honorable and part of their religion. The losers? Not so much. If you look at ancient Rome, it was pretty much the same. They respected their dead, especially if they were Roman soldiers. The Roman legions tried their best to find and bury their dead after a battle, whenever they could. Giving soldiers proper funeral rites was crucial to keeping their morale up. Roman soldiers were scared of dying in a foreign land and not getting buried. Commanders would do whatever they could to stop that from happening. One such example is from what happened after Rome got totally destroyed in the Teutoburg Forest back in 9 AD. 3 Roman legions got killed by Germanic tribes, and the Romans couldn't even get to the bodies at first. Years later, when this Roman general named Germanicus finally went back to the area, he saw something awful. In the middle of the field, there were just bones everywhere, of the men that had run away or tried to fight back. There were also pieces of weapons and human heads nailed to trees. Since the bodies had been out there for 6 years, they were just skeletons. Germanicus's soldiers were super touched and gathered up the bones of their fallen buddies and buried them. The Roman historian Tacitus wrote about it, saying, "No soldier knew if he was burying a family member or a stranger, but they treated everyone like they were related." About the Battle of the Teutoburg Forest, old stories say that farmers would use the bones of the dead tribesmen to make fences to keep their crops safe. And for years, the area had amazing harvests, mostly caused by thousands of bodies rotting and fertilizing the land. A few centuries later, the Eastern Roman Byzantines actually told people to do this in their military handbooks. Emperor Leo VI specifically told his generals to bury their own dead carefully, but to leave the enemy bodies where they were to scare the enemy. Some ancient battles ended with thousands of bodies just left on the field, especially the dead of the losing side. If neither side cared enough to bury them, then nature took its path. Animals like wolves, dogs, and vultures would clean up the battlefields over time. Bones would sit in the sun for years, a gross memory of the fight. That said, Most ancient battles didn't turn into permanent wastelands full of corpses. Winning armies had reasons to at least tidy up the battlefield for a bit, mostly to rob the dead or injured and to stop diseases from happening and spreading. The soldiers and helpers on the winning side were usually the first ones to clean up after a battle. Once the fighting stopped, they'd run back onto the field and steal armor, weapons, and anything worth something from the dead. Back then, stealing like this was simply thought of as part of the victory. After Hannibal totally crushed the Romans at Cannae in 216 BC, Carthaginian troops gathered gold rings and other cool items from the dead Romans. The Roman historian Livy talks about Roman battlefields where everything was stolen from the dead. Even the locals didn't find a weapon or piece of armor around when they came to bury the bodies. Metal stuff was way too valuable to just leave behind. Archaeology backs this up. Not many weapons get found on ancient battle sites. The army or locals usually stole everything helpful soon after the battle. Broken shields, spears that had broken, and of course the bodies were what was left. Enemy bodies would usually get tossed into pits or mass graves without any ceremony, or left for locals to take care of. As bad as that sounds, it was better than just letting them rot in the sun, which did happen when armies had to leave in a hurry. When Rome fell and medieval kingdoms came about, things pretty much stayed the same. Now, though, Christian belief and the idea that burial was simply the right thing to do also had an effect. It's just that religious duty often wasn't enough. Stealing loot was still a big reason to go onto a medieval battlefield after the fighting, the same as it was way back when. Soldiers would run all over the field, stealing whatever looked good from the corpses: armor, weapons, jewelry, and nice clothes. They'd even kill injured people that were too weak to fight back to steal their stuff too. Even when bodies were buried, it wasn't always right away. If an army had to leave quickly, they might let the local people take care of it, or they might just ignore it. Big battles were hard to deal with. There were way too many bodies to handle. Medieval writings admit that after some large battles, especially if the winning side wanted to be rude and disrespectful to the dead, they'd just leave the bodies to rot. One known example comes from the Battle of Hastings in 1066. Norman stories say that William the Conqueror buried his Norman knights with honor, but left the English dead where they were in plain sight. A poem from not too long after says that worms and wolves, birds and dogs, feasted on the bodies of King Harold's destroyed army. The Normans were in a hurry to take over England, so they might have just left the battlefield as it was, except for taking anything valuable. After the initial looting and chase, medieval commanders would sometimes bury the dead. Often, this meant digging big group graves on or near the battlefield. After the Battle of Visby in 1361, the winning Danes eventually dug huge pits and tossed the Swedish bodies in by the hundreds. They even buried the fallen warriors' armor with them because they were in a hurry. Archaeologists digging up Visby's mass graves in modern times were surprised to see skeletons still wearing pieces of armor. The Danes waited too long to clean up, so by the time they got around to burying the bodies, they were so rotten that stealing the armor wasn't worth the effort. But what if they were on the winning side? Even if they won, battlefield burials were sometimes quick and done without giving it much thought. Regular soldiers that died in battle might just get thrown into big trenches without any markers. Medieval religious groups sometimes stepped in to take care of the dead when armies wouldn't. There are stories of monasteries near battle sites organizing the collection and burial of bodies as an act of Christian caring and kindness. After the Battle of Crécy in 1346, villagers and monks from nearby towns gathered tons of the French dead and buried them. King Edward III had already buried his own English soldiers. Even with these efforts, people would still find skeletons turn up years or decades later. A traveler in the early 1500s wrote about finding piles of bones still spread around on the field of Agincourt, from the battle almost 100 years earlier. The battle victims hadn't been buried at all, or they hadn't been buried deeply enough. What about burning the corpses on pyres? Burning had to be rare, just due to the fact that it could be hard to find the firewood and a lot of taxing work to just gather. Medieval books tend to skip over the gross parts, talking about heroics instead. But you can still get hints of what really happened in one of the worst situations after the Battle of Anchialus in 9 or 17 AD. The winning Bulgarians didn't bury the Byzantine dead. 70 years later, travelers could still see the bones of the dead just turning white on the ground. So, who cleaned up ancient and medieval battlefields? They usually left it to the winners, with help from anyone living nearby. They usually did it for a mix of religion, practical reasons, and money. Once a battle was over, the low-ranking soldiers and helpers from the winning army just ran all over the field with intent to loot valuables and grab any equipment that could still be used. Honor and religion said that comrades had to be buried. Money meant that weapons and armor had to be picked up. But there usually wasn't any motivation to totally clean the field. That means travelers might find bones or skeletons years later, a spooky reminder of old battles that no one had completely taken care of. If you thought this video was interesting, you should subscribe to see what we release next. What would you want us to cover next?